Welcome to the stream, everyone. I think I'll just go here. Let me just set up the screen share. Show you what I did today. So, welcome to the stream, everyone. As you can see, I'm running a lot of websites through our testing tool. And there's some good news and there's some bad news. I'll start with the bad news because they are not actually that bad. So basically, during running this, right, which is great, I found a lot of little bugs and issues, right? And it's good that we test 100 websites and the most popular websites, because this is a real proof for whether our stuff works or not, right? And the bad news is basically a lot of these things somehow they don't work so well, right? So if we, for example, test Spotify, we can see like it doesn't find some information. And I mean, this test was a bit older, but for example, also here, Google Cloud, right? Like the interface is a bit buggy and sometimes the tests fail, right? On slow environments. So this is kind of frustrating because obviously I want this page to look good, and I want people to see that our tool works and that we can test any website. So if it doesn't look good, if it doesn't work too well, it means we have bugs, or it means something isn't working like we intended, right? So that just basically means there's a little bit more work, But I think the fact that a lot of these sites work is pretty nice to see, that's pretty great. And the good news about all of this is that, once we figure this out, right? Once we crack this case of like reliably testing websites and providing real value with our tool, once we crack this problem, right, it means we are really onto something, because it's a very hard problem to crack and to make it consistent, right, to make it work consistently. So once we crack this problem, we have some real value that we can sell to companies and sell to developers and founders and builders, right? And from if we get it right, then there's no reason why a vibe coding tool shouldn't integrate our testing APIs. There's no reason why anyone should be doubting our tech, right? Once we crack this problem and we show that we can actually test all these websites and accurately analyze their problems and stuff, then we really have a lot of value, right? So although our solution is a little bit buggy still, we are really onto something, right? Because this is a hard problem to solve, and once we solve it, we have some real value. And also the fact that a lot of these websites, perform bad on slow environments, right? And the fact that there's a lot of stuff being loaded and stuff that shouldn't be that should work differently, right? That means that we can help a lot of people actually, and we can really improve, like we can really improve a lot, you know And the fact that we find these websites to be dog shit, right? That means that we really have some value here, right? And once this finishes running, so it updates, you know, all of these are still need to be analyzed, but we are analyzing a lot of them already. And you know, we find some real issues, that these websites are really big and bloated, right? And the fact that a lot of these sites are dog shit, right? It's good for us because we can provide value to them. You know, we can help them fix their dog shit website. You know, the fact that these websites don't analyze correctly, or like that they load very slow, that is very good for us. You know, because we can point it out and we can get attention. You know, and it's very good for the article that we are gonna write and try to spread everywhere, you know, basically pointing out all the issues that we found, right? So if we find a lot of issues with these websites, that's good. You know, that's great, because then we can point them out and we can get attention towards our tool, you know. And so I'm a little bit stressed, obviously, to fix all these bugs and make it work well, but at the end of the day, the fact that a lot of these websites don't load well is good for us. You know, it means that there is a real value that we can add, you know, that we can bring. And you know, so many websites have issues. I found during testing, you know, just way too many files being loaded, you know, way too many files being loaded. And then oftentimes the files are the same files, you know. For example, it's no longer here, but I tested it earlier. Figma, the website of Figma, right? I found that they are loading the same script 6 times, right? So, you know, our tool really points out things that are really bad, you know? And I'm really happy that we chose this tool to build, because it provides some real value. And the fact that a lot of these websites, um, you know, are dog shit is the proof. You know, so I think I'm very excited, you know, to finish the testing and write the article, and you know, send it to contacts of mine and post it on my socials and stuff, about how many issues there are actually on these popular sites, you know, that are used and viewed every day millions of times, you know. um and yeah, I'm using Firefox, so that's why there's some buggy things here. But overall, our tool works, you know, it works. And this is really a big test, you know, this is really a big test. And if we would post it on Reddit, you know, and we would get people navigating to our site, and they test their website, and then we find out it doesn't work, well, then we look very stupid, you know. And that's why it's great to run this test and really make sure that, you know, everything works well, and that the tech we are building is solid, you know. And then when we go to other people and users and they use it, everything works, you know. And that's kind of the goal, to just build something that's fucking bulletproof, you know. um yeah, so that is the update for today. I actually, you know, I wanted to work on other things also, but actually this is way more important. You know, this is really the kind of thing that we need to do to get publicity, you know. If we can prove to everyone, hey, we analyzed 100 websites, and across all of these websites we found all of these similar issues, then we provide real value to developers and real value to people, to companies. So I think it's great. You really just looking at all of these in detail, and just because all the metadata loads, doesn't mean the site performs well. It still errors out sometimes, and it's like, if your site doesn't perform well on slow 3G networks, then what the fuck are you doing, bro? Then it's not a good site. Like, at the end of the day, then it's not a good site, Then you need to fix some shit, because that means that, all the people with a bad connection won't be able to access your site. So what are you doing? It's very simple. Our tool is very simple. It just tells you, hey, your site doesn't load, like, on slow environments, your shit is not loading, And why is that? Well, because you have 74 files being loaded that are 10 megabytes in total, And what are all of these files doing? What are all of these files doing? It's not clear, It's not clear. And the network overhead is crazy, The network overhead is insane. So yeah, looking forward to just making this really performant, and providing real value to people. So yeah, that is the update. Don't really have much else to say, just fucking grinding on something that is important. Just fucking building something that is important, you know. Don't really have anything else to say. And since there are no real questions, I think I'll just leave it at that and end the stream. Hope everyone is having a great weekend. I'll see you tomorrow for the next daily stream and more updates. Appreciate everyone that is supporting on Twitter, as always. Maybe we can look at the analytics for today, but I think it's not going to be much. And like I said, next Monday, so not the coming Monday, but the Monday after the one that is up ahead, we will go to Berlin, attend some events, talk to people, talk to developers, figure it out, right? What is going on in Berlin and whether we can, talk to some people. So the program will be running, the tests will run, probably a little bit longer, probably an hour or so, 100 websites. And yeah, this is not perfect. this could be a lot better, you know, if um, we would have more expensive infrastructure, right? Actually, while we're at it, might just increase the performance. Let's see what the limits are right now in terms of. Oh shit. Yeah, I might look at how to increase this. All right. So I'm just gonna increase the resources so that, yeah, it's more performant. And some sites perform okay. I mean, okay. Yeah. Some things still need to be fixed, right? It's not perfect, but think we're really onto something. And like I said, the more bugs we fix, it just means that it's a hard problem to solve, which is great for us because we can solve it and then we can provide real value and, you know, potentially make a lot of money. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow with more updates. All right. Good night. See you tomorrow.